Hi there, it's Jackie Hill again at Fast Forward Therapies and welcoming you to another video of this page in Stop Smoking for Life. I'm going to continue to answer the questions that have been raised on this page in this video, and I'm going to come to the question that Alan raised about anxiety. And I think he said something about panic attacks, but I think that was due to the fact that the panic was about not being able to have another cigarette. So I'm going to talk a little bit generally about anxiety and how the myth around smoking that it actually relieves stress. And I call that a myth because it is an absolute lie. Smoking does not relieve stress. Smoking, in fact, causes stress. How does it do it? Okay, I'll give you an example. Every smoker I know has this clock watching approach to when can they have their next cigarette. So the only time they are free from stress is when they're actually having a cigarette. Then as soon as they put that cigarette out, the stress starts to build up, very slowly at first, but mounting up until it's when can I have a next cigarette. So half the time they are with us and focusing on what's happening, and the other half is looking at the next opportunity when they can go and have a cigarette in 10 minutes time, where am I going to have it, all those kind of things. So the whole stress issue is around, and the anxiety issue is around having that next cigarette. Now, obviously, when you stop smoking, then the stress, you feel the stress of, I can't have that cigarette. So therefore, that whole anxiety and stress thing is still there around the nicotine. Now, as you gradually come off your cigarettes and you get through your withdrawal things, that anxiety and stress will actually decrease. So you won't be considering, as soon as you get up, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette. So you'll start to come to what is known as a normal stress level, I suppose, as opposed to a hyper stress level. So what can you do in between these times when you're completely anxious about having that next cigarette and the fact that you can't have it? Well, I've got a number of tips here that I'm going to share with you. Firstly, the best one is to start deep breathing exercises. Now, the very act of slow breathing actually calms you down. Think about it for a moment. When we are stressed and we go into what is known as the stress response, which is the fight and flight syndrome, our breathing becomes more shallower and becomes much quicker. We start to hyperventilate even, and we start to breathe quickly. This is because it's important for our bodies to get oxygen to the muscles that we need so that we can actually fight or run from the situation, therefore flight. So therefore that is known as the stress response. Now what you can do, you can trick your body into thinking that you're not stressed. And you do that very, very easily by taking in deep breaths. Now remember the old wives' tale, take 10 deep breaths and everything will be alright. That is actually true. If you can get in the habit of when you start to feel that anxiety, instead of breathing quickly and allowing the shallow breathing to continue, to actually take control of your breathing and take in some really deep breaths and take them right down into your gut. What will actually happen then is that the stress response trigger will actually turn itself off, and you will go into the relax response. That way that you will calm yourself down, and that will buy you some time. So therefore you're in between this period where you're perhaps feeling anxious because you need a cigarette or want a cigarette. You can practice your deep breathing, and that will buy you time. That will actually calm you down and actually get you into a state of less anxiety. Now, it might take some practice to get into the habit of this, particularly if you've never done this before. So start conscious, and my tip is to start consciously getting into the habit every day of doing some deep breathing exercises. Even if you're not feeling anxious, just get into the habit. And one of the great things that you can also do is something like yoga. If you can join a yoga class or practice at home, just again, because that is another good form of actually getting deep breathing down into the gut area, into the centre of your body, and actually calming the whole body down. And there's loads of other benefits that come from yoga and deep breathing as well that will help you do that. So there's a couple of ideas around the breathing. Now the other thing that you can do to reduce your anxiety is really, again, get into this relaxation mode. And there's lots of CDs, and I mean, I've got one myself, a quick plug here, Relax and Let Go, the ultimate unwind, and I've got that for sale. But there are loads out there. I mean, just get into the habit of getting into a deep relaxation. And that, again, is a lots of, I know on mine I do a complete breathing exercise, as well as taking you down to a state of deep relaxation. And that's really good because that calms the body down. If you imagine stress, for instance, a bit like a thermometer. You know, if you keep piling it up, the temperature goes up and up and up and up till you get to the point where you feel like you're almost exploding. But if you keep taking the temperature down, then something happens. You're down here and something happens to stress you out a bit. You're only going to raise that much. So it's all about keeping things on a lower level. So think about that. Think about relaxation classes. Maybe join a group, or maybe do some at home. Listening to nice music is another one. You can relax with a beautiful music, your favourite music, calming music, CD, and just practice your deep breathing and relax. Get in the habit of doing that. It's very, very important to relax, because in relaxing is calming the whole nervous system and the whole body down, and you can cope much better. Now there are other things that you can do to relax. For instance, you could have a massage. You could go for aromatherapy session. There's lots of places that do provide that, and with the scents and things. Or you can even just run a hot bath, throw in the bubble bath, sit back and relax. So get back into relaxation to combat this whole anxiety thing. Remember that the anxiety is caused by smoking. Nicotine causes stress. It doesn't alleviate it. It doesn't help you cope with stress. It just gives you more stress. So just be careful of that. Now, I'm just going to have a check here and just see if there's anything else that I've missed. The other thing, of course, actually, what you can do around coping with anxiety is, if it is a real problem for you, is to perhaps see a hypnotherapist or an NLP practitioner, or to give me a call and I'll talk you through some other techniques, but to actually get some help if anxiety is a problem. Now, I mentioned on the other video something about reviewing your diet. Eating the right foods help as well, because we need to keep our bodies in balance, so therefore if you're not eating the right food, then that can overstress your body, and your ability to cope with stress becomes much harder. So there's something to think on there. So I think I've covered that one. If there's any more questions that you have on that one, Alan, or if there's anyone else that wants to ask about the anxiety issue a bit more, in a bit more depth, do please write down, put a comment down under the video, and I'll come back to you on it. In the meantime, take care, wish you every success, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.